Relationships with our spouses. When we get married, everyone thinks that they're going to be perfect. All right? Well, maybe not. All right? But, all these promises are made. But, at the end of the day, things will become normal. Right? And if I start to fall short on just some of those things, that doesn't make me a bad person. That doesn't mean I'm failing as a husband or a wife. But if it becomes to a point where it's so dramatic that the other person is showing ihsan and getting slapped in return, then it becomes tatfif. Okay? Then it falls into that realm. وَيْلٌ لِلْمُطَفِّفِينَ. Woe to the shortchangers. Woe to those who hold back. The ulama even extended it, subhanAllah, to brotherhood. Okay, so parents is kind of obvious. The tatfif of a child to a parent. The tatfif of a parent to a child. Think about it this way. The very famous incident that took place with Umar ibn Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, where a man came to Umar to complain about his son. He said, my son is disobedient. He's not doing right by me. So the son responded and said, well, does the child have rights over the father? Do I get to have my rights too? So he said, yes. He said, you marry a good other half. So choosing a good mother for you, in essence, right? So you marry the good other half. You teach them the Quran. There was a third thing that I'm missing. A good name. Choose for them a good name. Good job. All right? So choose a good spouse, a good mother. Choose a good name, and teach them the Quran. Teach them divine revelation. So he said, I got none of that. And his name was Ju'la, which means beetle. He's like, my dad gave me a horrible name. My mom is not good to me. Doesn't teach me anything good. And he never taught me a word of the Quran. So Umar looked at the father and dismissed him. He said, you failed in fulfilling his rights before he could even have a chance to fail in fulfilling his rights to you. So you failed in fulfilling your responsibility to him before he even had a chance. You didn't give him a chance. So you did tatfif, basically, right? You held back too much. You didn't do enough to get that, right? But there's more often than not tatfif from the child to the parent. The parent gives their all, and it's met with ingratitude as a person grows out of dependence on their parents. They start to shortchange their parents. They shortchange them on a phone call sometimes, shortchange them in a conversation. Just the extra, just the little things, subhanAllah, that would complete things. And the mu'min has this characteristic, as Al-Ghazali rahimahullah said, that the mu'min has this characteristic that he doesn't leave something until it's complete. Right? He's not mediocre with anything. Not in the way that he fulfills the rights of people upon him or her, and not in the way that they complete tasks. They always make sure that things are complete. You think about sloppiness. Sloppiness can be tatfif. Like if I'm painting a wall and I'm a painter and I don't bother to take a second look and catch those spots, that's tatfif with the person that hired me. So you make sure that you've completed the painting. There's the person that's detail-oriented, sometimes to a point of being obsessed, because they don't want to wrong. They want to make sure they do the job right. They want to make sure they give that person their own. So tatfif and istijar, someone hires you to do any job, not just an employer or an employee. You make sure, you demand your full payment. But what usually happens, subhanAllah, think about tatfif in a modern financial context. Aren't there some professions where you don't pay in full before the job is done? And why don't you pay in full before the job is done? Because you want to make sure they're going to do the job right. Because that's culture. Okay? So I'll give you half now, and I'll give you the other half after you do it. And what happens when sometimes you want to be nice, and you say, well, he seems like a nice guy, and you give him full in advance. Then the job is done wrong. It's not done properly. So that's a modern application of tatfif beyond just weights. And by the way, till now, anyone who's in the gold market knows that they adjust the scales, right? That they adjust the scales.